bro, you're privileged. Just making 90,000, you're privileged. With 90,000, you can get a really nice car. You have a really nice place. You can have a fucking beautiful wife, beautiful family life. You know what I mean? You could have a great life with 90,000. And if you're making 90,000 and you're happy, is much more valuable than you making 400,000 or $1 million and you're miserable. So the minute I came out, I was blessed. I had a job with him. I worked in his office for about 6 months. Wow. Then Hurricane Sandy happened. A lot of his shit got damaged, and long story short, he laid me off. And then the same thing, just like you, I got a job in IT consulting. And bro, the job wasn't that. It wasn't the greatest job. I was only making $14 an hour. But I knew that everybody else that was on parole, them motherfuckers was in McDonald's. They was working at UPS. So I'm showing up with a suit every day. I'm like, bro, we out here. I don't even care. Just like all I had to wear was a polo. I'm showing up with a full suit and tie. I'm like, yo, we out here. I'm gonna rock out this job at least until the parole's over. So I did that whole job and I learned a lot. Like I learned about like corporate IT. I didn't know nothing about that. So I learned about like email servers. We worked with big ass clients like Armani, LG, like a lot of big clients. So I was getting an education. And you know, eventually I got raises and I got moved up in the company, but I never took it as like I'm only making $14 an hour. I was like, no, this is my opportunity of a lifetime. You know what I mean? Other motherfuckers are in McDonald's. Other motherfuckers are homeless. Other motherfuckers is fucked up. And I get to go into a nice building that's air conditioned, put my little headphones on, chill on the computer all day, answer the phone, do a little IT stuff, maybe go to the city and do some IT stuff, and I'm good. Right. So a lot of people and people that I was working with, they wasn't like that. They didn't have that attitude. They all had a bad attitude because they wasn't grateful. But me, I was coming from being in a cage. So I was so grateful. I was like, yo, I'm going to be the best IT guy ever. Right. Yeah. Well, and the other crazy thing, like everybody wants to be a millionaire. Right. But like $200,000 a year, that's 2% of the population. Yeah. So that's like if you got a job that's 100, 150, like you're in the top class of all the people in the world. And then if you want to fact, that's only in the country. You want to factor in the rest of the world, people living in Africa, people living in Haiti, people living in all these places around the world, bro, you're privileged. Just making 90,000, you're privileged. With 90,000, you can get a really nice car. You have a really nice place. You have a fucking beautiful wife, beautiful family life. You know what I mean? You could have a great life with 90,000. And if you're making 90,000 and you're happy, is much more valuable than you making 400,000 or $1 million and you're miserable.
Everything that's coming in now is like blessings that's extra. Right. I always say, you know, if I get to $50,000, I'm good. Because I have the hood mentality where it's like, yo, my mom made $35,000 a year for almost her whole life since she got here. You know, that's like the maximum that she's made every year. She's like a teacher assistant. That's it. That's as much as she's going to go. And now they give her a boost after 20 years. They're like, well, now you make 42,000. It's like, where was that extra boost when we was around? You know what I mean? But now they just gave it to her. I'm like, after mad years. So in my head, I was like, yo, if I get to 50,000 and I'm able to buy my Jordans, I'm able to get my own apartment, I'm good. Next thing I got, you know, to 80, 100,000, that's a blessing. Then everything after that, I'm just saving it. I'm stacking it up. I don't even touch any of that.
But the thing is, what you've been doing over these years is you've been planting seeds. Now those seeds are starting to grow and people are scared to invest in themselves. They only want what's happening now. You know, when I went and I was making $14 an hour, that was an investment. That was an investment in myself because I knew that I could do better, you know? And so, yeah, so I was at the IT company. I quit. They offered me more money. I quit again. They offered me more money. And then by the third time, I was like, yo, listen, I got to go. I'm not coding enough here. Like I had coded a little bit. I had coded some Twilio stuff. And then I got introduced to Twilio. I'm a huge fan of these guys. And I applied for a job with them. And I applied for a job with them. And then I applied for a job at a digital marketing agency. And I got an offer from the digital marketing agency. And then I went on the interview with Twilio while I was still with them. And he asked me, I will never forget this. And he was like, all right, well, what do you know? I was like, oh, I know PHP. He was like, what's Composer? And I was like, yo, to be honest with you, I don't know what it is, but I know that I could Google it and I could figure it the fuck out. Right. But I wasn't even in that frame of mind. Composer was new at that time. And I wasn't one of these MVP computer science kids. I didn't know what the fuck Composer was. Right. It was new at that time. And this is like 2014, 2015. And whatever, we went through the interview. Dude was real cool, real nice. And he was like, yo, good luck on that other job. basically letting me know in a nice way, like go take that digital marketing job and get your shit up, get your stripes up. And so that's what I did. I took the job at the digital marketing agency, and again, I was getting little pay raises. Every time I quit a job, I get a little pay raise, right? So I went into the digital marketing agency. I was chilling. I was making 60K, which was dope. And I was making 50K at the other place when I left. So I went from 50 to 60. And yeah, and it was just about like playing poker. You know what I mean? Like the dude, he was trying to get me for less. I was like, yo, listen, I'm making 60K right now in this IT company, so I'm not gonna make less. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to go for like 75 or 90. So I had to play a little bit of poker, but I still ended up with 10K more. And I learned mad stuff. Again, I didn't take it as, oh, I'm not making enough. Oh, I gotta wake up early. No, I was putting in work. I was learning, and built mad different websites there. I learned Composer. I learned Laravel. I learned freaking NPM and SAS and all this stuff. And then I got another job offer to go to Philly. And at this time, I was very good at branding myself. I had started my LinkedIn when I first came home. And my LinkedIn was like software developer. I had all the keywords in it, all my projects. Like that shit was crazy. And so I got a job offer. And at the same time, I heard about the Rutgers Coding Bootcamp. And I had a choice. Am I going to take this coding bootcamp and invest in myself? Or am I going to take this job offer and make more money? And I chose to invest in myself. So I went through a 6-month program. Now, mind you, the people that go in the program, they don't know nothing. I've been coding already at that time for like 9 or 10 years. Even though it wasn't professional, I wasn't like MVP fancy with it. I was still building websites since I was a little kid. So these kids are coming into the coding bootcamp. They don't even know what a terminal is. They don't even know what's HTML or nothing. So I'm like helping the kids. I'm tutoring them. I'm helping them. And then by the end of that program, Rutgers actually offered me a job to teach at the school. They were like, yo, bro, you killed it. Like, whatever. We started going to hackathons. I started taking them on field trips. I was organizing my own field trips. Like, yo, we going.
It's like, hold on, I got you, kid.
And started winning hackathons and shit, going crazy. And then they offered me a job to teach there. And the only reason I didn't take it is because I had a different offer from this company called Founders. They were like a startup accelerator. They still are. They're in Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey is like, those of you who don't know, it's like the Camden or the Compton of New Jersey. It's a really rough neighborhood. And their whole thing was like, how could we bring startups and tech? How could we bring that to a neighborhood like Newark and make an impact? So like we were working with kids that they're gang members. Like there was this one kid who was 17 years old. You know, he was like selling drugs, doing all the stuff, getting locked up, going to juvie, doing all crazy stuff. But we were in that community showing them, yo, there's another way. Besides just selling weed, besides just gangbanging, besides just doing all this stuff, there's another way for you to actually make money and support yourself.
I wanted to ask you, so how the hell did you decide to go to like Puerto Rico? Like, how did that happen?
So I was working at Founders, and then Hurricane Maria happened, right? And then I found a problem that was like bigger than myself. And me and a buddy of mine, shout out to Eufemio Perez, we went and we bought like pallets of water, and we loaded them up on a truck, and we dropped them off at a location, and they sent them over. And at that time, I actually did a Facebook Live, and I posted the Facebook Live on Founders. And one of the dudes at Founders, again, I don't want to be racist, but one of these white boys at Founders that had worked with me, he's like, oh, that's political. Why you posting that? I'm like, bro, what's political? I didn't say Trump's name once. All I said is, yo, we donating water. You should donate some water. Literally all I said. People are thirsty. There's no water. Make a donation. All we said. And so whatever, I posted it. And then we look on the news, and 2-3 months later, the power's still not coming back on. The water's not getting distributed. And then I linked up with a dude called David, and he came down to New York City. He went to a app release party for a friend of mine that has an app. Shout out to Hugo Sanchez. And we started talking, and he's like, bro, I'm down here in Puerto Rico. I've been living here for 8 years. I'm helping people. I have a truck, and I'm just going from city to city dropping off water. And he was like, FEMA's not giving the water out, bro. FEMA's not giving none of the shit that you guys sent. FEMA's not giving it out. So I was like, all right, fuck that. We got to go out there. So thankfully to him, he was like, all right, bet, when you coming out there, right? So we start talking about the different problems, and then he brings up the economy. He's like, bro, the thing you don't realize, our whole economy is based off of tourism. People come down to Puerto Rico because they want to go to something beautiful. They want to go to a beach. They want to get married. They want to go on their honeymoon. They want to go on their bachelor party. You know what I mean? This is a destination for vacations. Nobody's coming no more. Even though, like, the capital city where the tourists go, they did turn the power back on in that city in the first, like, it still took like 2 months. So the capital had power, but still nobody was going. Everybody was scared to go. So that messed up the economy. Everybody's losing jobs. So for me, I'm thinking like you. I'm like, bro, you could be selling stuff on Amazon. You could be selling stuff on eBay. You can make a website. Like, there's so much stuff. As long as you got Wi-Fi, there's so much stuff that you could do as long as you got Wi-Fi. So I'm like, dude, we got to build like a coding school. We got to like bring technology education like down here and give these kids an opportunity to learn. And then the next thing he starts talking about is that there's no power in 50% of the island. So I'm like, bro, we need solar panels. There's mad sunshine down there. So long story short, we plan a trip a week later. Bro, I don't even speak Spanish that well. Like, I speak bodega Spanish. Like, I can order my shit. I go to the block and pop. Like, I could like get a girl's number. Like, my Spanish is mad basic.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been to Puerto Rico in like 20. No. I have been as a tourist. But like, I hadn't really been there in 20 years since my grandfather died. I used to come when I was a kid. And then when my grandfather died, I stopped going. So I had only been there like once or twice for vacation. I didn't really know the island. But thankfully for David, he showed me around the island. And a week later I came, and then I started getting different friends. And everybody, I would be in the bodega, I would be at the store, wherever. Yo, I'm going to Puerto Rico to help Puerto Rico. You want to come with me? Yo, come with me. You got to come buy your ticket right now. And I got like 5 or 6 people to come with me. Shout out to my man Jimenez. He donated 300 protein cookies. Shout out to my man Hugo Sanchez. He donated 300 solar panel lights. And then shout out to Crazy Legs and all the other people, Angie Martinez, Fernando and his team at Guru. Mad people came together. And we went all around the island, and we gave away 300 solar panel lights, food, water, supplies. And I went down there. When I got there the first day, I rented an Airbnb. The Airbnb literally didn't have power half the day. We would have power for 6 hours, and it goes out for 6 hours. And like, there was barely no water. The water would like drip out of the faucet. And all the people that came with me, they're like, yo, what do we do? Like, what are we doing? And I'm just like, yo, we out here. And then that became the slogan for my company, Disrupt. Our slogan is we out here, because it's like, I don't have a plan. I don't know exactly how we're going to make it work, but we out here. We took the flight, we took the risk, and we came out here. So we did the trip. We linked up with David. We gave away all the lights, and then people started seeing what we was doing. And that's how I met my co-founder, Super Manny. He DMs me like 2 days before the flight. He's like, yo, bro, if you ever need photo or video, let me know. Like, I'm a videographer. And I literally replied, I'm like, bro, will you come to Puerto Rico in 2 days? I didn't say, hey, what's up? How you doing? Fuck that. Yo, I'm going to Puerto Rico in 2 days. You coming or what? So I talked to him once over the phone, booked this ticket, and 24 hours later, we were on a flight going to Puerto Rico. And we met an hour before the plane. That was the first time we met. Wow. And, you know, he's Dominican, so he gets a vibe. He lived in DR for like 5 years, so he could relate. And so he creates this documentary. And mind you, he comes to Puerto Rico, he pulls out of his suitcase a monitor, and I'm like, okay, cool, you got your setup, and then a laptop, and the screen on the laptop is broken. He's like, hold up, I gotta plug this shit up real quick. And he's freaking made the first documentary on this crazy ghetto ass laptop. And we put the documentary out there. Then people started giving like little donations. We didn't really raise much. We raised like $300. But people started giving donations on GoFundMe, and then more people flew down. So people saw what we were doing. It was like, yo, I want to be involved. And like, people flew down that never even met me before. And we linked up with this nonprofit called Veterans for PR. They were all Army veterans. So they were going to FEMA and getting them to release supplies. And then they created their own supply distribution center. In the beginning, we were just buying water. I was just legit going to Walmart, going to freaking CVS, whatever, just buying cases of water and then driving into these towns that are mad far from the capital and just giving them out. where people didn't have water and didn't have light. And then eventually, like I said, we hooked up with this nonprofit. And then I knew that at that point, I wanted to move down here full time. I wanted to like make this my passion and my mission. So when I got back to New York, I was supposed to be down there for like a week. It turned into like 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks. And when I get back to New York, I was literally in New York for like 2 weeks. And then there was a opportunity to go back to Puerto Rico to go to the blockchain week, which was like they threw this big cryptocurrency conference down in Puerto Rico. A friend of mine bought my ticket for me. He's like, all you need to do is show up. He's like, the hotel is at the Vanderbilt, is booked. The conference ticket is booked. Just buy your plane ticket and you're good. And you're gonna meet the mayor, you're gonna meet the governors, you're gonna network with people. Like, this is where you need to be in the world. So shout out to Ray Thomas. He was very gracious to see the vision that I had inside of me and gave me that second opportunity to come, like, literally 2 weeks later. And at that point, I was like, yo, I gotta quit my job. I can't, like, it was my birthday weekend the first time, so I got away with it. I hadn't taken a vacation in a year. So I'm like, yo, this is my vacation. And then literally 2 weeks later, I was going back. I was like, all right, I don't want to do this to these people. Like, because I could have done it. I work remote. So I could have done it and been like, yo, I'm working, whatever. But I was I can't do this to these people. So I literally called my business partner, Gerard Adams. I literally called him in the airport on the way to go back the second time. And I'm like, yo, bro, we got to talk. And I'm like, yo, listen, I'm grateful. I met so many amazing people at Founders. Like, I'm super, super grateful for opportunity. And I think at that point, he knew what time it was. And, you know, I was like, however this conversation ends, I just want to start it off with gratitude. And I was like, yo, for no other reason, the day I met you, I quit smoking cigarettes. The day I met you, I was smoking cigarettes for 20 years, bro. The day I met this dude, I had quit. I built an app for him to see. He was smashed, souped up about the app. He's going on Instagram Live. He's showing it off. And then we go outside after and I light a cigarette. What I always do, I'm outside. And one of the dudes comes up to me. He's like, bro, why are you smoking? You got so much to live for, bro. So the next day, that night, I get in the car and we went out. We had a couple of beers, and then I'm with my boy and we're both in our cars. And I'm like, bro, you got too much to live for. The next day, I looked at my pack of cigarettes. I didn't touch it. And for 6 months, I would wake up. I never touched the cigarettes for 6 months. I would just look at them and be like, I got too much to live for. And then I'd walk out the door and I wouldn't touch them. And that's it. I quit fucking cold turkey after that. So I was like, yo, listen, if for no other reason, I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for everything else. And I'm going to leave. But I got your back. I will help support you. I'll help you transition. Like, whatever you guys need, like, I got you. And that's it. I moved down to Puerto Rico. I started my company called Disrupt. I had to bounce back and forth a little bit in the beginning because I had to like get rid of my apartment. It was crazy. I had just bought a brand new apartment. It was dope. I had fucking 70-inch flat screen, smart TVs, Amazon Alexa in the whole house, fucking art on the wall, brand new bedroom set, brand new furniture. Like, my life was set. Like, I was comfortable as hell. And then I got rid of all my stuff, put it on storage, and then I moved to Puerto Rico. In the first month, I lived in a little shack. Like you was talking about behind the scenes, like trying to make it work, trying to figure out who's legit in real estate, who's the real people. But yeah, it was basically, there's a saying, and it's called "burn the ships." Right. Okay. So there was a war that was happening, and there was like 3 ships, and they're going on the beach and they're fighting, and the general put the 3 ships on fire, and he told the soldiers, either you win the war or you fucking die, because I burned the ships. There's no turning back. Right? And so I knew that's what I had to do. I couldn't leave. In the beginning, I was like, oh, well, I'll leave my apartment and then I'll go to Puerto Rico and I'll go back and forth. And I was still living in New York for like a couple of months. And I'm like, bro, I can't do this no more. I'm living a lie. I got to be in Puerto Rico. And then the power went out again. So like the power in the beginning was 50%. It was getting 60, 67, 70, 80, 80, 90. And then boom, the whole power dropped again. And when the whole power dropped, it went out for like 2 days. And my boy called me and I'm like, bro, what am I doing here? I'm not supposed to be here. And so at that point, I knew what I had to do. So I got rid of all my furniture. I got rid of everything. I sold my TV. I sold whatever I could sell. I gave away whatever I could give away. And that's it. I moved down here.
Nice. Damn, son, that shit is a journey.